know. So this is day number 1 of object-oriented programming in Objective-C. And for brand new students, which I'm going to assume everybody in the room is, even the guy who just walked in, there's a couple of things. It's this person in the corner that needs help with her Wi-Fi connection. There's a couple of things that I do differently than some of the other instructors, so I'm going to talk about that first, and then you can get a feel for how to navigate the course to make things a little easier. We have this thing called the EMS. The EMS, when you registered, and some of you just registered like maybe a couple weeks ago at most. And if you did that, you may have the password, but you may not have gotten in yet. If you type in ems.itu.edu, or if you go to the ITU homepage, you'll see an EMS little thing. They used to give new students an orientation on the EMS. I don't know if they still have that yet, or if they even have that for weekend students. I don't know. But the EMS is where you're going to upload all of your assignments. If I log in, you're going to see my view, which is the teacher's view. And if I click on my courses, and yours is going to look slightly different, but it's pretty much the same concept. I have 2 sections of this course running. So I'm going to have 2 sets of videos recorded as well, and 2 sets of everything, which is actually kind of nice because then you can go back and forth between the 2 sections if you want. They're both weekend sections, so they're both pretty much going to be identical, but actually, if you're a local student and you need help, all you have to do is show up, and I'll show you where those weekends, I'll just show you right now where the weekend days are. They're on the schedule, actually, if you look at the ITU schedule on the website. If you're having problems with an assignment, you need help, you're in the area, you have nothing better to do on a Saturday or a Sunday, you could hit me up if I'm on campus here. I'm probably not going to be in this room, I'm going to be downstairs. The other section has got like 70 students in it or so. It's bigger. So I'll probably be in 102. But you can catch me on campus. Otherwise, the best way to catch me is by email, bhecker@itu.edu. But let me show you the class. So one of the first things you're probably going to want to do is make sure you have access to the EMS. In the EMS, you're going to submit all of your assignments. And you're in this section here. You're only going to see one section. It's going to say OO Programming with Objective-C. When you go in, you're going to see, well, you're going to have a slightly different view, but you're going to have something for assignments, and in your assignments link or in your gradebook link, depending upon how it's set up for you, I don't have a student access, which is one of the problems with the EMS. Faculty don't know what the students look like. I know I'm pointing at you only because you work with technology. I've been telling them over and over and over again, it'd be nice to see what the students look like, what the student account looks like. I keep showing them my faculty account, which is different. But anyway, long story short, I don't know what you look. I don't know what your account looks like. But there's something in there where you can upload your assignments. All you have to use the EMS for is to upload your assignments. For this class, I don't put anything else in there. I mean, I do, but you don't really have to use it. Your other resource that you're going to use more often is this one. It is bhecker.com. So if you go to www.bhecker.com, Hecker is my last name, Barbara is my first name, so that's where we get the B. Hecker from. So actually, some students just call me B. Hecker. That's fine as well. So you'll see there's a link that says Fall 2013. If you click on the Fall 2013 link, you see this is where the OO Programming and Objective-C is located. So in here I have the dates for both of the meetings. So I have Session 2 and Section 3. So this is September 21st. So we're on this weekend here. And you see, so if you forget which weekends you're supposed to be here, then you can go to this website and just see it right here. And you can see the next one on October 12th, I'm going to redo everything from today. So if you really do want to learn all this stuff, you're more than welcome to show up on the 12th. I don't think you're going to want to after sitting here 8 hours a day, 2 days straight. But if you're sadistic, you have nothing better to do, you have no life, and you want to come to ITU every single weekend, or as many weekends as possible, you could come up and revisit this entire weekend all over again on October 12th and 13th. However, you don't have to. All you have to do is show up on 3 weekends. So IT requires 70% attendance, and maybe you've heard this drill already, but I'll give you the drill again, which means you can actually miss 2 whole days and still pass the class. But here's how the days work. There's a morning and then there's an afternoon attendance. So the morning goes from 9 to noon. So sometime between 9 and 12 noon, they're going to come in here and take attendance. And then sometime between around 2 or 3-ish. I've never seen them take it like before 2. I don't know. But technically, afternoon, after lunch, around 1 to 6. They generally take it about 5 to 6. You know, sometimes they'll take it around 4, but because they want you to stay. So there's 2 attendance opportunities per day. So if you miss the morning, like some people will actually miss, because we have 23 people in this class. I don't see all these people here. Some people are going to miss the morning. When they miss the morning, that counts as 1. So you can miss 6 of these. 1, 2, no, you can miss 4 of these, 4 of them. On the 5th one, you get a D in the class. So you don't want to miss exactly 4, because then what happens? You're in the restroom. You came back late from lunch. Your car stalled. You couldn't get over here. Something happens, and then you fail the class just because you're late one time because you already took your 4. So some people might actually be taking their 4 this weekend. They're not going to show up for the entire weekend, which is very typical, because the first weekend and the second weekend are the 2 weekends that people would take off. The 3rd one, you have to be here. The 3rd one, you have to be here because on Sunday at 3 o'clock, you have the final exam. That's set by the university. The attendance is set by the university. They're the ones that take it. They're the ones that do it. I just follow the rules. So long story short, if you're going to take a weekend off, you could take the entire weekend off, but it's kind of playing it risky. Or just show up on one day. Like show up on one day of this weekend, one day of next week, of the next time we meet, and then the 2 days of the following weekend, because you have 4, opportunities per weekend. So, or show up half day on everything 4 times. So anyway, you do the math, you figure it out. So if you click on the object-oriented programming and Objective-C, you get to this page here. This page here has the course syllabus on it. There's a link here for some free, legally free ebooks. They're not like BitTorrents. They're not illegal. Some Apple documentation, assignments, PowerPoint, source code examples, and then you see down here where it says Spring 2013 videos, Spring 2012 videos. Well, we're going to have a new one for Fall 2013 videos. These videos, actually, I just click on Spring 2013 here. If I look at this one as an example, Lecture 1, Part 1, if I click on it, it takes me to my YouTube site. And actually, this is the first one, so it's going over the same stuff I'm going over right now, actually. So this is a repeat of basically what I'm doing right now. So you notice that the YouTube site has all of the archived versions of every time I've taught this class for the last 2 years. So there's more than that. There's some older ones in there. The problem with iOS and Xcode and Objective-C is Xcode has changed throughout the last 2 years, about 3 or 4 different versions. Is she up and running? Is she good? All right, thank you. So the IDE is significantly different right now. So some of the older ones may not necessarily interest you. I'd go back to 2012, maybe at the latest. Don't worry about the earlier stuff. It's still up here. Everything is archived. So the other thing as well is that, let's say for example, and I break them out hour by hour because they get kind of long to do one 8-hour video. So you came in late, for example, like some of these people who are not here right now, they can actually just go ahead and look at the video. So, and up in the right-hand corner up here where this little thing is blinking, this is the recording. So it's actually kind of interesting. It's actually kind of cool software. It's called iShowU. It does screen capture and audio capture. Everything I'm showing you on the computer puts in the video, and then you can relive the entire experience. You can't see me on the video, but you can't see yourselves on the video, which is really good actually, because then I'm not gonna worry about putting students out on YouTube or anything. So anyway, if you click on the one that says free legal ebooks on Objective-C, you see I've got many different, these IT ebooks. These are legal. They're older versions. Don't go far back, too far. The ones that are out here are pretty decent. They're based on the current iOS version and the current APIs and stuff. But some people like, in fact, I like this one here actually, it's not too bad. Some people have different learning styles, and so depending upon your learning style, you might find that one book is better than another book. If I go back to the syllabus, which is also the first link actually at that site, you see that down here on the required equipment, there's no book listed. Textbook, link to programming related text materials and ebooks will be mentioned in the class. There is no required textbook. There is no required textbook. So, inevitably I'll have a student, what textbook are we using? We're not using a textbook. There's no required textbook. However, I highly recommend downloading one of these ebooks. They're free. So there's no excuses. So the ebooks will be based on different levels of programming experience. If you've never done C, never done Java, there's a couple of them in here. In fact, if that's the case, I'd go with beginning Objective-C. I'd focus on the Objective-C language. If you've looked at C, C++ before, Objective-C is another dialect of C. So it's kind of almost like, it's not the same, but it's very similar, and we'll go over that today. So you'll see if the, then you might actually be interested in more of the, Objective-C recipes, or maybe this stuff here, Head Start for iPhone and iPad development or something. More of the iOS development platform versus the, I don't know, some basic beginning programming stuff. So I would, as your homework between this weekend and the next time I see you, search for one of these books, because I guarantee it, by the end of today, you'll be looking, oh my, I need to read up on some of this stuff. Perhaps in order to do the assignments. So pick a book of your choice. If you get bored while listening to me, you can always thumb through and download them and see which ones you like better. Some of them have more pictures than other ones, so we'll see. And so the course itself is 3 credit hours, meets the 3 weekends. And it's about teaching Objective-C, so it's object-oriented programming, Objective-C. So it's Objective-C is for you person who just walked in with the Windows machine. It is only able to be done on a Mac. You need a Mac. Good. So yeah, just like these guys here are setting up their Windows boxes on virtual machines. You have it set up already?
It's in process.
All right. I've finished your process. So you should have Wi-Fi access. Are you brand new to ITU? Do you have Wi-Fi access? Okay, good. You're in good shape then. So if you don't, the best thing to do is to go out and get yourself a decent MacBook. They actually are a good investment for development work, actually. I can't believe that people actually do development work on a Windows machine. I mean, it's kind of like an oxymoron, Windows development. Yeah, anyway, but, because if you have a MacBook, you can do C, C++, Java, Python, Perl, PHP, web development, anything but .NET. You can't do .NET. If you're doing .NET, you have to do a virtual machine in order to get Windows and the .NET platform. But that actually runs better on a Mac than it does on a PC. So anyway, so if you have a MacBook, you're in good shape, especially if you're going to get into iOS development, because the VirtualBox is going to run too slow for you. It's not going to be very, very functional. I mean, it'll barely be enough for you to see what we're doing, actually, for the most part. But we're going to be looking at Objective-C language, its syntax, its design, its features, its capabilities, and looking at an introduction to Cocoa library, Cocoa Touch library. Most students, as I was mentioning earlier, find the iOS platform a little bit more intriguing, and they learn Objective-C so they can program better iOS. So instead of looking and focusing on strictly Mac computer, we're going to do a little bit of that, but for the most part, we'll be looking at iPhone, iPad development as well. And you don't need the devices I was mentioning earlier. We have emulators for that. And this morning is all about getting your tools set up. So, all right. So prerequisite knowledge is a little bit of C is recommended. Objective-C is based on C. So if you've taken a C programming course before, you're in good shape. If you haven't, you'll learn a lot about C in this course. I'm going to teach it with the perspective that nobody has any programming experience. So if you're bored in the beginning, don't worry. We'll quickly ramp up. But I do have to start kind of at a lower level. Most students on the first day of class want to know about the grading for the most part. We have a final exam. The final exam will be given during the last weekend at 3 o'clock, as I mentioned before. For this class, I'm not going to do any source code writing for the final exam. The final exam will be multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer format. So you won't have to write source code. Most students, if you give them a pen and a piece of paper and you have them write hello world, they can't do it because they're so used to typing and the environment's different. It's like taking you out of, like a fish out of water. Don't know what you're doing. Actually, I have the same problem, or used to have the same problem. Don't have it anymore, but in the beginning, well, it's kind of typical. It's kind of like how a lot of people can't even write right now. You know, if I took all your computers away and just gave you a piece of paper and a pen, you're like, what in the world am I doing here? In fact, it was actually kind of funny because on my engineering management exam, final exam last quarter or semester, we had an essay, and half the students were complaining that their hands were hurting after like 5 minutes of writing. I'm thinking, in the old days, people used to write all day. It's like, why is my arm, my elbow, my arm, my head. I'm like, oh, those muscles never get used. It's like, I'm surprised you can still figure out how to write. Anyway, well, now with today's youth, they can't even write English. All they know is text message, talk, which is kind of sad, actually, because they don't practice speaking real English and talking, and having real face-to-face conversations. Half of them don't know how to make eye contact. And these are like American high school kids graduating from high school. They can't even survive an interview because they can't look at people because they're not used to it. I mean, they lack social skills, like real social skills, because they're familiar with LOL and OMG and all the other stuff that they're doing on their text messaging. You know, hey, hi, on my way. That's how they speak. And actually, some of them actually speak that way when they actually have to verbalize something. Yeah, it's kind of sad, actually. So, anyway, not to assume that you guys are going to have that with programming, but you will. You won't be able to. You don't write source code by hand. If I gave you a piece of paper and told you to write hello world, half of you would fail it in any language that you already know, because you can't recall it from memory because of it's like out of context. So. All right, so the 40% is that final exam. Don't be concerned that it is 40% because 60% of it is going to be in programming assignments. So if you've attended the class meetings and you're up to speed with everything, then you should be okay with the exam. It's multiple choice, multiple guess as well. So it's not that hard. My exams are pretty easy, actually. So where you're going to get the most points is with the programming assignments. There's 6 of them. Rather than giving you due dates, like this one's due tomorrow. No, nothing's due tomorrow. So this one's due the next day. Instead of doing that, what I've done is I've set the due dates to December 19th. So I'm checking right now to make sure they're all set to December 19th. So you have 6 assignments. They're all due on the very last day of the course. Actually, is it the last day? Good question. Let me take a look here. Our last weekend of the course is going to be December 14th and 15th. So you take, I'm sorry, we're down here. Is after December 21st and 22nd. So you want to do the 19th is before the 21st and 22nd. Wow, that's like 2 days before Christmas. I mean, that's like, they're cutting it close. So 22nd, I've never had a class on the 22nd of December before. That's 23rd, 24th, that's 3 days. So if you're traveling, well, maybe you're not traveling. If you are, you're taking like a red eye out maybe on Sunday. Who knows? Anyway, long story short, the assignments are all due on the 19th. Some of you might have them in earlier, I would hope. I'd pace yourself, do them in, because this is kind of the weekend format. This is sort of the, you guys are all working adults, and most of you are on CPT. This class and the assignment is probably not the first highest priority on your list. Maybe, maybe not. So take your time, do them in your spare time, do them when you can. Get them all done. Don't wait until the 18th or the 19th. I guarantee it, 100% of the time, the EMS goes down on the 19th. Actually, it's been known to go down the day before too. And then you get stuck, and the whole group of students who can't get anything uploaded, and the administration, they're not lenient. They're not. The administration is pretty strict. They say, oh, we're sorry, you waited until what? You waited until the 18th? I would like maybe not even wait till the 15th. I'd do it like before December 15th. And not wait to submit them when you're done. So don't wait till you have all 6 of them ready to go and then just upload them. You do the first one, upload it. Do the second one, upload it. And make sure you do it all before like the 15th of December. Because by the end, when the semester ends, the system's going to go down. You're going to get stuck, and there's no hope for you. Same thing with your CPT reports. If you're on CPT, pay attention to those deadlines. If you miss a deadline by 1 minute, you're not going to get credit for the report. Do not wait until the last day that the report is due, because the system will go down. Lo and behold, or you'll have a technical problem where the system won't take your report. It does. That's just the way that nature and technology work. So do it like now. I think you have a job description that's due by the 15th of October or something like that. 13th of October? Yeah, so some people tried to submit it already. There was a problem with the due date. They fixed the due date problem. Just do it now. It's a job description. So anyway, long story short, don't wait, although you technically could wait. The grading scale is pretty normal. And down here where it says ITU master's degree students must submit all 6 assignments. And if you don't, you're not going to get to score well in the course. Doesn't really matter. I mean, if you don't want an A in the course, you want a B in the course, then only turn 5 of them in or 4 of them in. Then you'll get a B. So I think you have to have a B or better at this school. Stay on F out of academic probation. So you can play it by ear, get whatever score you want to get. Grading formula is pretty standard. An A is 95 to 100. A minus is 90 to 94. I don't give out A pluses. There's no such thing as an A plus. An A plus is 4.0. An A is 4.0. It doesn't do anything. So if you turn in all the work and you do well on the midterm, you probably won't get anything lower than a B plus. And that's the lowest you're going to go probably. So, rare occasions I do give out Bs, but I try to keep you at least in the B plus or above range. So, and it's a pretty small class, so you guys will have individual attention, so you'll be able to keep up with everything, hopefully. So see, academic dishonesty also needs to be mentioned on the first day of class. Because this class has been taught several times before. You guys are brand new, so you're not in any of the bad habits as some of the other students are. I do switch the assignments around, change them a bit. But don't recycle something some other student has done in the past. If you do that, you'll get 0 points for it. If it's in the same term, like 2 students turn in the same assignment, both of you will get 0s. So I don't really care who's the originator, who's not the originator. About a year ago, we really cracked down on this, and like lots of students got Fs because they all turned in very similar stuff or same stuff. And maybe you're not on them yet, but pretty soon you'll be getting those invites for the news groups and the email lists and all of the communication among the ITU students that they don't think the administration and faculty know about. But there's a bunch of lists out there, where students say, hey, you got any assignments for this class? Hey, you got any assignments for that class? Students are students, come on. It happens everywhere. And then you, oh yeah, here's one. And these assignments float around the news group lists, the email lists, and the forums and stuff. And long story short, we know about those assignments. You turn one in, it's kind of funny. Actually, it's kind of humorous because we're like, oh, that person was stupid enough to turn it in. Wow. And so, and half of them actually are wrong. They're not even the right assignment. They just zipped it up, or they put it in a RAR file, and the person who's sending it doesn't even know how to unzip it or unRAR it, so they don't even know what's inside of it, but it's like a joke, and then they submit it as their assignment, and then it's actually kind of humorous in the end. Well, it's humorous for us, not so humorous for you. But long story short, don't do that. Just do your own work. So you're brand new. You're not stuck in that you're not stuck in that scenario where you're taking advantage of all of the communication that's going on. So In fact, I would just stay out of the communication, then you stay out of trouble. I mean, you're here to probably, perform well in your CPT, I hope. Maybe you might actually learn something in the course and be able to expand your skill set and use it out in the real world. I actually have several former students who are working for Google and for Apple and for app development companies. A couple of entrepreneurial former students who build apps in the App Store all the time. I actually have several in there. I have a few apps in there. I've done contracting work where most of my apps are children's apps. Probably you guys have probably seen some, I don't know. But in fact, for the longest time, they were remakes of Mattel toys from the US. You know, like the wheel you spin, and the wheel goes around and around. It stops on like a cow, and then you press it, and it goes moo, and then and the other one goes, it's children's stuff. It's like preschool games, or the balls that bounce, and you have to capture the ball. I had a student in here actually write an app to do characters, to learn I don't remember what they're called, but some of the Indian characters, there's like a character set of something, I can't remember what she called it, but where you sit and you draw the character. I've seen it for kanji characters, for Asian languages, for character sets is what I'm talking about. They have all sorts of different ways of teaching kids how to draw the characters or identify the character. Say, which one is this? That means horse. That means dog. For language development. So anyway, one of my former students actually submitted an app actually into the App Store actually that she wrote during the course. That when she took this course, actually she was in the iOS development course. So let me talk about that a little bit. So I teach the mobile app certificate program here at ITU, and there's 4 courses. There's Objective-C, which is the one you're in, Object-Oriented Programming and Objective-C. Then there's an iOS application development. So we're going to do a little bit of iOS in this class, but we're focusing on Objective-C. The iOS class uses Objective-C. So you want to take that after this class if you're interested in this. That class, you build apps. It's all on app development. It's all on techniques for using JSON and using all sorts of different frameworks, Twitter frameworks, and all this stuff for Facebook, and the frameworks and the plugins and all of the tools and the interfaces and the GUI development, UX, UI stuff. This class, programming course, Objective-C. In fact, we're going to write a program today. It's going to be a Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion program that will work on an iPad or iPhone. And I will set you guys up with student accounts if you want for the iPhone, for the Apple developer. If you have an Apple, in order to get the student account, you actually need a real MacBook in order to do it. But IT is part of the Apple Developer Program, Education Development Program, which means you can run, and I'll talk about this when I talk about Lecture 1, you can run your apps on your devices. So you can hook up your device and actually run it on the device. And it's unlimited, it works for a year, allows you to do that without the developer account, which is only $99 a year if you don't have an education opportunity to do it. $99 a year, you can actually put something in the App Store. The developer account for education, it's free, but you can't put anything in the App Store. It's for educational purposes, but you can do almost everything else. So it's kind of nice because then you can learn how to put stuff in the Apple Store without having to like act stupid on your first job. Here, put that in the store. I don't know how. So at least you know how to do that. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you can figure out how to do that for yourself. It's not too hard, actually. But anyway, we'll go through that as well later. Probably not till after lunch. I have to get through some Objective-C stuff first. But long story short, if you take the Objective-C programming course, which is this one, the iOS programming course, which is the one that would follow this one, it's a separate course. Then I have object-oriented programming in Java, same as this course, but it's Java. We write Android apps. We practice with Android for Java. And then there's the Android, as you might imagine, Android programming course. 4 courses, part of the SC, Software Engineering degree. So if you're a Master's in Software Engineering, Master's in Engineering Management, Master's in Computer Engineering, these are all elective courses that work with the same program. You take the 4 courses, you get your master's degree, and then you can also pick up a mobile app certificate at the same time. And if you're interested in this type of development, which is, I'd say about a year ago, it was, I don't know if it's really peaked yet, but about a year ago, I'm saying it peaked, the industry in the US. So we have a lot more app developers out now than we had about a year ago or so, which means it's kind of flooded a little bit. But it's actually kind of good because those people don't really know what they're doing. Half of them are using third-party tools. They're not doing anything native. And if you learn this stuff, you'll be doing native app development. So native meaning we're using Objective-C, we're using Java, we're not using PhoneGap or some other third-party tool to develop the app. We're actually developing the app. So I also do a meetup group with workshops in app development. So I don't know, we're starting that back up in a couple more months from now. Space is the problem. We don't have enough space on weekends to have the meetups. But long story short, that stuff is on third-party tools and app development for web developers and stuff like that. So, and we'll look at some cool stuff for iOS in this class as well. Questions on the syllabus? No? Well, for those people who came in late, you probably, let me just recap 1 second here, because this is the most important part, is the bhacker.com website. If you came in late, which is these guys over here, I write down bhacker.com. On the bhacker.com website, I just went over the syllabus. There's also a link in here to get a book of your choice, free. They're just older versions, legally free. They're not illegal. So, the other link I forgot to show you was this Apple Objective-C guide. It's through the Mac Developer Library, obviously. There's a bunch of readings in here. It's kind of like the Microsoft Development Network, the MDS or whatever, MDN. Anyway, I'm not a Microsoft fan. Long story short, it reads like Greek. Not so user-friendly. I don't know if I would use this stuff unless you're sadistic and you want to make it challenging for yourself. I'd get one of the other books, actually, if I were you. So the assignments are in here as well. There's 6 of them for those people who came in late. You upload them into the EMS. You'll have to have an EMS account to upload it. But you can use this account. This has got everything is the same as what was in the EMS. PowerPoint lecture, source code examples, and then everything that you missed before you came in has been recorded. So you'll see after, probably not till after lunch, there'll be a new link in here that'll say Fall 2013 videos, which will have this morning's lecture on there, which will probably be called Introduction. So it means if you showed up late, you can actually come back and take a look at it. So, all right, so unless we have any questions, I'm going to assume we're good. So I'm going to stop this actually. You know what I try to do is break up the videos a little bit. Oh, you do have a question. What is your question?
I mean, we can get the OS until, I don't know, like a few days because they have to ship it. And apparently that's the only way to get it.
Seriously? No, you should be able to download it.
No,
It's not allowing us.
All right, here, let me stop this.